Hello chess friends and welcome to Zarov's Chess Channel and welcome to the Grand Chess Tour in 2019 in St. Louis Chess Club. So we have the winner and it's a new winner in this year and it's this top grandmaster Levon Aronian from Armenia. So this is now the first tournament of this Grand Chess Tour that Magnus Carlsen has won. And Levon Aronian, I think he really deserved this win. He played very good rapid rounds. He had 13 points out of the possible 18. So this rapid rounds were evaluated 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. Then we had 18 blitz rounds. The blitz rounds were evaluated 1 point for the win and only 1/2 of the point for a draw. So after all of these rounds, these are the standings. Levon Aronian on the first place. Ding Liren also played very great tournament, I think. Vashila Graf also with many surprises, also with many great tactical games. Yu Yangi deserved all of the respect because he was even on the first place in one particular moment of the tournament, then also lost some games, and even Sergei Karyakin took the lead in one particular moment of the tournament. So Magnus Carlsen is only on the 6th place. I think he's not satisfied with this outcome of this tournament. And Richard Rapport, we have Caruana on the 8th place also. I think he's not satisfied with this tournament, and we have Dominguez Perez and Shakhriyar Mamedjarov on this last place. So, but the more important thing here was that Shakhriyar Mamedjarov helped in the last round because he drew with the Yu Yangi, and that result was favorable for Levon Aronian because he stayed on the first place. If Yu Yangi would have won that game, then there would be a tie break. But Levon Aronian, as mentioned, I think he really has deserved this tournament. And as I also mentioned, this is now the first tournament that Magnus Carlsen hasn't won in this 2019. Today I wanted to show you now this game from the round 21 between Ding Liren and Levon Aronian with the black pieces. Levon Aronian has played really a great tournament with black pieces, which is unbelievable. And I want you to pay good attention of this particular line, because if you want to use this line, you can beat me in chess. I really hate this line when I play it from white's perspective. I am a d4 player myself, and when my opponent answers with this opening, I'm really not happy. So if you want to see this line, it's really a great one. Then we can play maybe some chess on Leechers or some other sites, and we can try it out and try to find improvements. I have to find improvements myself because I lose many games in this particular line as white. So now I have you give up my secret. You can use it sometimes or you don't. I just wanted to pay good attention. It's really a great line which you really can apply if you have troubles while playing against d4. So let's see this line. So d4 here by Ding Liren. We have knight on f6 by Levon Aronian, and c4 and e6. I have explained this line often in my commented chess games, and also in my opening preparations for this Nimzo Indian defense setups. So here, knight on f3. This is now the most often played line in the top grandmaster level. So the counter Nimzo Indian setup is this idea: if you play bishop on b4, then you have to place knight on, from b to d2, and you don't have this pinning idea. So the most often line these days is this move d5. So we're waiting a little bit from black's perspective what white will do, and here knight on c3. Here Levon Aronian plays now this line that I really hate to play against. So let's flip the board a little bit. The idea, if you play here as white, you want of course to play the move e3 and then develop the bishop, but of course we want to play the move e3, but first we want to place our dark square bishop somewhere, and where to place it. The problem is, if you play something like bishop on g5, your opponent can try maybe bishop on d6. So we are waiting white, we are delaying a little bit white's move, and we are asking him where you're gonna go with the bishop. I'm going on another diagonal. So the most often line here is bishop on f4, but let's go back. I just want you really to show you this opening, because if your opponent plays bishop on e7, which is the most often line, then bishop on f4 is perfectly fine, because if you get challenged by this knight, you don't have this knight on d7, and then you can play something like bishop on e5 or similar ideas. But now when this knight on d7 is, you cannot place the bishop on e5, because then you lose the bishop in an early stage of the game. So of course we don't want to lose the bishops in such an early stage of the game. So that's why here this delaying move, knight from b to d7, I think it's perfectly working, because you see here in this setup, now Ding Liren played bishop on f4, but now we have this line, d takes c4. And what to do here, because if you play something like e4, it allows maybe here even the move knight on b6, which can protect here this c4 pawn. So that's why e3 is a more calm line. But now Levon Aronian played really aggressive line with the move b5, because the main idea of the Nimzo Indian, which transposed basically now into a Queen's Gambit declined, is the spinning idea with the move bishop on b4. But it doesn't work so good when you play immediately bishop on b4. It doesn't come with the tempo. It allows white some consolidation moves. That's why here b4 very aggressive by Levon Aronian, and here knight on b5. We have bishop on b4. It really forces now to bring the knight here again on c3, and now we have the spinning idea, knight on d5, and you have to protect this knight somehow, maybe with the queen or maybe with the rook. Here Ding Liren played rook on c1, but now this bishop is hanging, and you could also take this bishop, but now Levon Aronian plays on a better idea, I think, knight on b6. This pawn is really a good one. It has occupied your opponent's half of the board, so it's really annoying to battle against this pawn. You'll see the importance of this pawn in the continuation of the game. Bishop on g3 here, finally played by Ding Liren. He wants to stay with the bishop pair on the board, and now c5. You see Levon Aronian is playing really aggressively. I like this style, this Nimzo Indian, counter Nimzo Indian, and then this gambit line with b5, very aggressive, great opening line here played by this top grandmaster from Armenia. So bishop on e2, we have castling now finally, and now castling also by Ding Liren, and now bishop on b7. If you watch this position from black's perspective, I think it's perfectly fine. You have a good diagonal for this bishop. We have occupied this very important central square on d5. It's basically unchallengeable, because we have some ideas. If you push this pawn e4 immediately, then it will be also vulnerable to your opponent's attacks. And we have also challenged him white center with the move c5. So here knight on d5 played by Ding Liren. We have now queen on d5, which is really a great move, because we have already played with this knight, with this bishop. So we are playing now with a piece we haven't played so far. So from an opening strategy, it's really good, because we want to bring the queen out. We have to bring the queen out. We want to connect the rooks. We want to finish our development. So that's why queen on d5 perfectly fine. So a3, and this is now probably the idea. Of course, we have an attack of this bishop, and bishop on a5 is not so good, because now this pawn could be a weakness. Then we can try maybe something like knight on d2 and really challenging. Here also there are b4 possibilities if the position allows it, because you see this knight on b6 has taken out this very important square for the bishop. But here after a3, Levon Aronian found a counter attack. C takes d4, of course, and now queen takes on d4, and now very important move bishop on e7. Now we get finally out of the way, and now queen takes on d5, bishop takes on d5, and still black has really a good position. This pawn, although it can be sometimes a weakness, but now it prevents this very important move b4. So you see white cannot play this move. And here that's why knight on d2 was played, and now of course rook on c8, protecting our main advantage here in the game. And here Ding Liren played e4, and again most of us would maybe retreat with the bishop, but not Levon Aronian. He plays the counterattack again with this pawn c3. Now if you try something like e takes d5, then of course we can take this knight. You're forced to bring the rook here behind this pawn. Rook on d1 has to be played, and now we can play rook on d8. If you try something like d takes e6, that doesn't bring you so much, because simple f takes e6. Although this pawn is now weakness, we can protect it maybe even with the king, but the more important thing is that this pawn is very powerful. It creates some very serious threats, because the promotion is always an option, and we have also possibilities to place the rook on c2, occupy our opponent's second rank. We want to bring, of course, the rooks on second ranks or seventh ranks from white's perspective. And if you try something like rook on c3, then rook takes on c3 is very good. B takes c3, and now bishop on c6. You see, although we are pawn down, this pawn is now hanging, so you cannot protect it, because if you try, of course, knight on b1 to protect this pawn, then this pawn is hanging, and then in the continuation of this endgame, this would be not so good for white, because then you have two weak pawns, which is of course an advantage here for black. So that's why knight on b1 played by Ding Liren, and now c2. So now we have finally e takes d5, and now of course c takes d1 with the promotion, rook takes, and now knight on d5. And this is now not okay. The evaluation here is equal, but we have now a very nice centralized knight, which is good, which is on a light square, and we are battling basically against this light square bishop. Of course, bishop on f3 will be the idea of Ding Liren, then rook on d1, and to try to create maybe a weak pawn. But this bishop is really not so good, although it has a good diagonal, but it's really aiming into nothing, and that's why here, as said, rook on d1 was played, and now bishop on c3. This bishop is now much more powerful, because it directly attacks a weak pawn here on b2. Bishop on f3, now rook on d8, and now b4, improving the position now, because we want to have maybe ourselves here a pass pawn situation. And here Levon Aronian plays g6, getting some room for the king, because maybe we could use this diagonal in order to play more actively with the king in this endgame. So bishop takes on d5, we have e takes d5, and now a4, and now rook on c4. So you see, Levon Aronian is simply much more active with his rooks. Now we have a weak pawn on b4. Of course, you cannot play b5, then you lose the a4 pawn. So from activity point of view, black is simply better. Here f3, now we have bishop on c3. You see how powerful now this bishop gets, and then that's why bishop on e1 had to be played. Bishop takes, rook takes on e1, and now rook on b8, attacking this weakness. We have rook on e7. This was sort of a counter attack, but now Ding Liren, Aronian plays very important move a5. So of course you cannot take, you have to play b5, and now Levon Aronian simply grabs a pawn. This is now favorable endgame for black, because you can also improve this pawn, connect these pawns, try to protect them, and this is still a weakness in the continuation of the game. So that's why b6 played by Ding Liren, and here rook on b4, rook on a1, and now rook takes on b6, rook takes on a5, and now first rook on b1, king on f2, rook on b2, we have king on g3, and now rook on d2, of course with the preparation to play rook on b2 and then grab all of these pawns on the second rank. So this rook's activity of Levon Aronian was simply slightly better. That's why here of course you have to be careful, because here Ding Liren played on this counter attack, rook on a8, king on g7, and now rook on a7. You cannot of course play immediately rook on b2, then you lose simply this very important f7 pawn. That's why rook on f6 first, rook on d7, and now rook on f5. We have h4, h5, and now rook on a5, and very important move g5. And here after rook on a4, Ding Liren resigned because he made a decisive mistake, because now we have g takes h4. If you take with this rook, then rook on g5, king on f4, and you can grab another pawn, and this is now of course completely winning with these two pawns up in these types of endgames. Although maybe Ding Liren should have proceeded. I'm not sure. Maybe Ding Liren has lost on time in this position. I'm really not sure if he resigned this game off or if he lost on time. But this is now, I think, winning for black, because we have not only one pawn, we are 2 pawns up, and this is, of course, I think, an endgame which Levon Aronian would win very easily. So, okay, congratulations to Levon Aronian. I'm really happy that he won this tournament, because we will need a strong Levon Aronian in the near future, because he plays really great chess. He had also a great tournament in the Grand Chess Tour in Croatia. I'm from Croatia, and I had the opportunity to watch Levon Aronian's one game against Viswanathan Anand live. I was there watching him. He's really calm. He plays really this great systems. I think this is really an aggressive line. If you have troubles maybe to play against d4, try it out. I think it's really playable, because you see Levon Aronian managed to get out of this opening very easily. Again, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed this game, and I hope you enjoyed this my coverages of this tournament. I enjoyed this tournament really a lot. It had really great games, great newcomers. We saw that Yu Yangyi, also a very powerful player. Ding Liren also playing very nice games. He crushed really Fabiano Caruana in one round in these blitz games. Maybe I'll cover this game also if I have time to analyze it. What to say, Magnus Carlsen didn't play such a good tournament, but I think he was trying something else, because Magnus Carlsen in this tournament, he wasn't drawing many games. He only won or lost games, and he played more aggressively. Maybe he's trying something out. I hope he is, because we'll need a tactical Magnus Carlsen, not a positional one. He played really great attacks, so maybe, as I said, he was trying something out. Maybe he risked one tournament to try new systems, to try new opening lines, and try to see what fits for him in this continuation of his career. Okay, meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games from this tournament, and you can also watch my best chess games of all time if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.